To Normalize Breastfeeding Live. This is our new podcast. I'm excited to be with you guys this morning. I am your host, Vanessa Simmons, and I want to give you a recap on what happened with the nursing at the Today Show last week. All right. So just a little bit about me. I am the founder of normalizebreastfeeding.org, and I'm a Black breastfeeding mother, obviously, a mother of 3, and the mother and photographer behind normalizebreastfeeding.org. My mission is to document and provide education that supports diverse variations of normal breastfeeding. And my vision of this campaign is a breastfeeding awareness media campaign that normalizes breastfeeding in all forms of delivery, so nursing, pumping, and donor milk, and to attempt to remove the taboo of public breastfeeding in our modern society. So just a little bit about what we're going to be discussing today. I'll be chatting with Jill DeLorenzo. She is the mom who challenged NBC's Today Show with her Brealfie sign on air. She actually set up the nursing that moms went out to New York, and they went on the Today Show to just make a stand for against them saying that it was TMI for moms to be sharing their Brealfies online and social media, and also that nursing in public should be a private issue. We know that, when it comes to breastfeeding, we should be able to breastfeed anywhere that the law allows us to, and in every state except for Idaho at this moment, there are breastfeeding laws in place. So ladies, if you don't know that, you can go to breastfeedinglaw.com to look up your state law. Okay, so I'm going to show a little video clip. Let's see. And this is what happened between from Kathy Lee and Hoda Today Show.
There are 2 types of people, Hoda. Those who feel the need to share their most precious moments, and those who like to keep them private, like I prefer. But God bless us all.
I say breastfeeding is beautiful and natural, but sharing it on social media, TMI.
Okay.
All right. So, this is something that we need to address, and so that's why we're here today. We're going to talk with Jill about how she felt about all of this. But first of all, what I want to do is go to, and by the way, apparently it's okay to share this type of image on social media. However, your Brealfies are taboo. This is a problem, people. This is a problem. We're going to go to the a big thank you to all of our supporters. The supporters of the Nursing at the Today Show are the Nationwide Nursing, Normalized Breastfeeding, Public Breastfeeding Awareness Project, PALA, Best for Babes, The Badass Breastfeeder, Mothers for Public Breastfeeding, Breastfeeding Mama Talk, Breastfeeding Help, Just for Dads, New York Statewide Breastfeeding Coalition, and Mama Knows Best, and Breastfeeding World, and Attached. So thank you all for your support. We really appreciate it. It has really helped us to push this movement forward and really get the word out about it's really made the story go viral, and it's really exciting, and we're really grateful for all of your support and your help over the past week. So I also want to give a thank you to Carolina Bologna, who actually wrote the story for the HuffPost. She reached out to me to cover the story earlier this week, and obviously you can see by the numbers here, it has definitely gone viral, and we're just really grateful for all of her help. She shared some amazing images on her post, and just had a really well-written article, and she has continued to advocate for breastfeeding moms through her stories in a positive light. I've only seen her write stories from a very positive viewpoint, and so we're really thankful for that. And here's some more images from the NYC Breastfeeding World Project. They were actually on the ground at the Today Show nursing and was able to get some images of the event. So thank you so much, Allegra's Photography. So I'm going to show the rest of this this clip and see what they had to say about what Kathy Lee and Hoda had to say.
That is just bizarre.
I know. I'm also like, you're scared to say it, so your emojis are saying it,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
What was up with that?
wah. It's like,
Breastfeeding isn't awkward enough. Now we'll have cartoon characters talk about it. Very bizarre. Do you guys anybody have a problem with women breastfeeding in public? How about that first?
Nope.
No?
I love it.
I've never been mad at a titty, Larry.
Well, okay, yeah, I guess I'll give you some. I don't know. I can't remember being angry at a titty, if that's what you're saying.
You know?
Are you don't care?
I've been mad at a titty.
You've been mad at a titty?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the...
I don't in particular.
One of the issues is that people are just doing it in public, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But then they're sharing it on Instagram, which seems a little over the top. It's like, yeah, now my titties are going to be out feeding the baby on Instagram.
I mean, it's like...
What? It's getting in the way of like twerking videos. What are people really
I know,
upset about?
I'm just like, more
Nobody
importantly,
cares?
I want to know what they're captioning.
It's-
Like, attention,
well,
turd,
Well, you gotta remember, like, that's like people take pictures of their food and it's a baby
That's
having
true.
its
That's
meal.
right.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't know what's,
It's the original food porn. There we go. It's the original food porn.
yeah.
Do you guys think it's narcissistic?
I think the internet is narcissistic.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that anybody's surprised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's also, like, it's all, like, Instagram porn. Just stop following.
Yeah. No. Okay, so we all think it's cool. Tim, what do you think?
I'm cool with it.
Let's go.
Thumbs up.
All right, so props out to Broad City. Thank you so much for that wonderful little segment there. Definitely very positive for the breastfeeding community to know that we have their support. And so I want to go to Jill now. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? Oh, sorry, 1 second. Let me unmute you. Here we go. Try and go ahead and unmute yourself. I think we had an issue with the mute in the beginning.
That's better.
Yes, that's better. Good morning.
Okay, so wow, it's been a crazy week.
So just give me a little bit of a summary as to what went on when you arrived at the Today Show nursing.
Sure. So when I arrived, it was pretty easy. I was expecting it to be a little bit more crowded, a little bit more complicated, but it was pretty easy. It was super easy driving into the city at 5:30 on a Saturday, believe it or not. The only time I think I'll ever drive there and not have an issue. And then the line was pretty short as well because Saturday tapings, I guess, don't get as crowded as the weekday tapings. So it was pretty easy for us to get a spot where we would be on TV. At first, I didn't see any other supporters. The three other ladies came a little bit later, but that's great because we had a spot and then they were able to join up with me later. So getting on was okay. I didn't have any signs. The other ladies, as we'll talk about later, did, and we'll talk about what happened with those. Yeah, so it was getting in there was pretty easy, no problems. And I even created the Brelfie sign on site. They provided those supplies, and there was no problem with that. Nobody said anything to me about that.
Awesome, awesome. So let's talk about the actual, like, what happened when you guys were there, set up, ready to go, when they started taping. And I know obviously we were live as well, but tell me a little bit about the behind the scenes.
Sure. So behind the scenes, production just tries to get everything set up and make sure that they have the show that they want to have. I noticed kind of toward the beginning that there was an older, heavyset man who walked around and was just observing. I think I described it like a judge at a dog show, like he was just looking at us, trying to see who he wanted on camera and who he didn't. And he walked up and down a couple times. At that point, supporters were flashing their signs. I was not. And then on his last pass, I decided to, like, why not? And then he caught eye of my sign. He made eye contact with me, and then he walked back inside. And I think that he was just looking for me. I mean, maybe that's a little bit narcissistic, but I think that that was a major point of him trying to walk out there, was to identify where not to film.
Well, and what a lot of people don't know is that the day before this whole nursing actually took place, we were making phone calls and trying to put in complaints. And I called personally, and I said, I'm Vanessa Simmons from normalizedbreastfeeding.org. I want to put in a formal complaint. And I told them that we will be having moms coming down to have an actual official nurse in for this situation. And they specifically told me that they would not be taping that day, even though they were there and you were there. And it got to the point where, they said we're not going to be there. And so then I kind of had a conversation with you, and I know that you had already received email confirmation from their website saying that you had reserved a spot. Yes. So then after that happened, then more people started calling because, we put the word out and said we might as well just keep on calling. And then they shut down the phones. So this is kind of like the behind the scenes of that whole situation. We didn't want to blow it up in the beginning, but people need to know this is what's happening. They're kind of trying to ignore the whole situation. And now that it's gone around the whole internet, I'm just wondering, like, what is going to be their next step? So you tell me, how were you happy with the outcome, and what is your and how many signatures do you have on the petition? Let's talk about the petition.
Sure. We'll talk about the petition first. It's also gotten around the internet quite a bit. Anybody who's seeing this who hasn't signed yet, please do, and please share it with the support networks that you think would be supporters of the petition, which is for NBC to stop shaming and censoring breastfeeding moms. We have over 6,000 supporters last I checked, which is great.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm gonna pull up the petition right now so that we can get people to have a chance to take a look at it. 1 second. It's just taking a little while to load. So go ahead and tell me about, were you happy with the outcome of the actual nursing that day? And do you feel like the petition was a good step for the next step forward?
So there were a lot of positives that came out of the nursing. I got to meet 3 amazing ladies and their children, and we connected, and I know that we'll get together again sometime, and that was wonderful. And we also got a lot of people talking about what Brelfie is, and getting our nursing on other stations to talk about in a positive light too, which is wonderful. But I wasn't happy that the signs were confiscated. The signs that didn't have any sort of language that is against FCC regulations. It was just NBC trying to not put breastfeeding on the air, which is really unfortunate because they already talked about it once. They talked about it on Thursday in a negative light. So I wasn't happy that the censoring and shaming continued. But I hope to make some more headway with this petition as a formal complaint. It's written out, in black and white, and not only that, but other supporters, everybody else who really is it's you that we rely on. It's not just me, it's not just Vanessa or Laura. It's the whole breastfeeding supportive community. and you get to have a message written by you to say why exactly it impacts you, why you're disappointed. So I hope that not just the nursing, it'll be a continuation of our efforts. So again, so some things did happen as a result of the nursing, other things, were necessitated, such as a petition, because we still haven't heard anything. So a lot of good and bad.
Awesome. Okay, so it says that you guys have 6,052 supporters. So amazing. Well done. This has only been in 5 days. Like, this petition came out on Monday. So NBC, Today Show, Kathy Lee Hoda, you guys need to respond. This is not something that's going to go away. You need to respond. Show a little bit of concern for especially the community that you serve. Jill, tell me a little bit about the article that you found where Kathy Lee was actually saying that nursing moms were part of their target market. We were the only ones crazy enough to be up in the morning watching the Today Show.
Hey, okay, I will. I'm sorry, I have a couple of cranky kids right here.
No worries. I know you're all over the place.
So because of that, I mean, it got a little bit of extra fuel to my fire, because when their segment of the Today Show first came out, they did an interview where they were asked who is going to watch your show, and they also mentioned that there is a rerun at 2 a.m. and they're like, what kind of crazy people are going to be up then? And they said people just getting home from work, and they also they singled out breastfeeding moms.
Right. Mothers nursing their children, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that made me realize, mothers who are nursing their children are going to get this message from them that they cannot share photos and that they'll be judged for sharing their photos. So it became a little bit more critical to do something.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and share this petition with everyone. You guys, if you get a chance, go ahead and go over to change.org. You can look it up just by typing in NBC, or you can also type in Stop Shaming and Censoring Breastfeeding Moms. We need your support. We've already got 6,000 signatures, and we're looking to get to 7,500. That's the next benchmark. So if you guys can help us out, just head on over and sign this petition today. We really appreciate your support. All right. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Jill, for coming on again. I know it can be crazy, especially with the kids and everything. Luckily for me, my kids are still sleeping. So, it makes it a little bit easier. But I was just going to say really quickly, so what is your goal going forward? Let's talk a little bit about your next step after the petition.
Okay, that sounds great. So as a result of the things that happened after the nursing, I learned that OK had picked up and published this story, which really, to me, confirmed that it was a planned segment. This is a planned attack on moms who choose to post breastfeeding. And I got a little bit to thinking as to why would they do this? Why, in spite of the fact that every major health organization supports breastfeeding, in spite of the fact that all the laws and Facebook and Instagram policies support breastfeeding, why would they do this? And it became a little more clear to me that negative breastfeeding stories are clickbait. They want people to click because that is how they make money. Networks are not in this to do good favors for us. They just want to make money. And it's greedy and dirty, and every story that you've ever seen, that's it. I mean, they wonder, how will this get the most likes, clicks, views, shares?
Right.
So the next step is to mobilize the breastfeeding community and tell networks, really demonstrate to them that we want to see positive stories, and that the positive stories are going to get the views, the clicks, the conversation. So as a result of that, we launched the World Breastfeeding Week Positive Media Blitz, which also has great support. More supporters from the internet from online support groups are still coming on board. And the point of this is really to focus on World Breastfeeding Week because we have a little bit of time out, and it's also a big celebration that everybody's already getting ready for. And we're going to do what we can to target media outlets and have them air pro-breastfeeding stories. Sorry, my son's a little bit cranky.
It's fine. If you need to nurse, feel free to nurse. There's no problem with you nursing at all. I'm going to bring up the World Media Blitz. So this is a World Breastfeeding Week Positive Media Blitz. You can go on Facebook and join the event. All you need to do is just type it right here in the search. And we've already got 300 supporting. And this has only been since, I want to say Tuesday. Is that when it was created, Jill?
Yeah, it was sometime this past week. This whole week has been a blur, but it was.
It has been. It has been, yeah. But we've got, I mean, pretty much all of the same supporters from the nursing have now come over to the positive breastfeeding or the World Breastfeeding Week Positive Media Blitz. So, I mean, you definitely want to get involved with this if you are a support to the breastfeeding community. I mean, we're 700,000 plus strong. I mean, all of these pages together, I think we hit 750,000 people supporting the nursing. I don't know if we have numbers on as far as who's supporting the Media Blitz, but I mean, this is something that you definitely want to get involved in. You can come here to get updates as far as what kind of things are being shared and who are good people to follow. And also just to share, you know, I want to share this, did you ever share that meme about the pressure?
Yeah, I did under, I put it as an action item.
Okay.
And, I did that because I also want it to be somewhat of a place, like an open source place where our page owners can grab content to create their own positive media stories, however they want. They can take it and make their own memes or posts from it. So I want that to be a benefit of becoming a page owner who supports it.
Did you post the actual meme though that has like the definition?
Yeah, scroll down a bit.
Okay.
To that. Yeah.
There it is. So pressure, noun, the pressure put on moms who breastfeed, including demands to move, cover, or stop breastfeeding. So obviously we know that this is not the term the way that it's really being used right now, but in order to make it a positive from a negative, Jill has coined this term and taken the definition and redefined it to benefit a breastfeeding mother as opposed to attacking a breastfeeding mother. And so I think that we need to address these types of things because, you know, I mean, I bottle fed my second. I breastfed her, but I also bottle fed her, and we supplemented with formula. But I did not feel pressure to breastfeed. I was trying to avoid postpartum depression that I had with my first child. So I was looking for an option, but I didn't think that breastfeeding was going to be my enemy. I just felt like I needed to have some additional help. And so I really feel like, you know, the fact that moms are saying, like, this is going to be something that is putting pressure on them. It's like, no, we're sharing breastfeeds, we're supporting one another because there's not enough support for breastfeeding out there. They may feel opposite, but it's not an attack on bottle feeding moms. We support all feeding moms, but we want to support each other as well. So to turn around and come up with a phrase that's pretty much attacking us or making it seem like, I mean, I understand you have your own opinion, that's great, but you're turning around and saying that our breastfeed sharing is attacking you, that's not true at all. So thank you for coming up with this this positive media. You guys can go over to the World Breastfeeding Week Media Blitz, Positive Media Blitz, to find this meme and to be able to share it with your friends and on your pages. Okay, so I am going to, oh, little guy looks tired.
What to say before is that we now own the domain positivebreastfeeding.com.
Right.
So if you get updates, right now it links directly to the event. So
right.
Or some crazy URL, you could just do that.
And tell me a little bit about you guys are doing some fundraising. Tell me what the fundraising is going toward.
Oh yes, this is something that I have actually not announced to anybody yet, and so this is where you guys get exclusive.
Sorry.
Fine. So one thing that has happened is people want some gear. They want like a T-shirt or a notebook or something, and so I created a shop on Zazzle.com/keepingitpositive. I'm gonna go after this because he's a little bit cranky. I added a bunch of stuff that I think people will be interested in getting, and I do get a little profit from it. So I want to make sure that does not go to me. I do not want to profit off of this. This is a movement from all of us. So what we are doing, and this is very exciting, is we are going to take that money and put it toward pro-breastfeeding advertising. And that is something that the group and the page owners are going to come up with. Like, what would you rather do? Do you want to do a commercial? Do you want to do a full-page spread in the New York Times? Do you want to do billboards? And we're going to have that for World Breastfeeding Week. And then, you know, if people continue to buy merchandise, and we'll continue to put the money into pro-breastfeeding advertising. That's fine. Yeah, so that's also very exciting, too.
That's very exciting. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
I see that your little guy is getting a little bit restless, so I am going to head on over to our special guest that we have on today. I'm going to go ahead and mute your sound, but you'll still be on air if you want. Oh, okay, I think she had to go. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to Connor. So I just want to say good morning, Connor. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Good morning.
Hi. So I'm gonna share a little bit about what happened with you. I'm gonna mute Jill's sound. Okay, great. So I'm gonna share a little bit about what happened with you. I just came across your story last night, so I haven't had a chance to really go through the whole entire thing. Sorry, I'm on our group, and I just wanted to get over to your post. Here it is. All right, so I'm gonna share it on the screens, and then you can go ahead and talk a little bit about how this came to be and what happened, and tell us a little bit about your experience with nursing in public.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we were actually going up to Terre Haute to get a new cord for my pump. And while we were up there, I live an hour away. So I fed my son before we left, and we had been up there for about an hour and a half already. So it was getting close to about 3 hours since he had ate last. And we decided we might as well just go sit down and eat anyways. So we go to TGI Fridays to eat, and I sat down, and he started getting hungry. So we were in a corner by ourselves, and I turned away to latch him on, and then I turned back and was reading my menu, and it wasn't a big deal. Everybody was eating, and so later I found out that in one of my mommy groups on Facebook, somebody had a screenshot, and I was looking, and I was like, that looks like TGI Fridays. I sat right there today. Wait, that is me. And I really got to looking at all the comments people had been screenshotting, and it really started to bother me. And so I decided the next day to post it, and I don't intend, or I didn't intend for anything bad to happen to the man that posted it. I just wanted to take something negative and turn it positive by educating people and spreading awareness that it is a problem that people don't accept breastfeeding in public.
So do you remember seeing him take a picture of you? Do you know who it was?
I had no idea. And the only reason I found out who it was we had a mutual friend on Facebook. But other than if we hadn't, I would have had no idea. And I was too busy looking at how cute his little girl was to pay any attention that he was taking a picture of me.
Right, right. How old's your baby?
He's 4 months.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I'm so sad that you had to endure this, but it's been amazing to see the support that has come around you. I'm so proud right now of the breastfeeding community and just the moms that have come around you to be able to support you and show, you know, that this is not acceptable and that someone like this should not even consider taking a picture of a mom nursing, whether they have a problem with it or not. I mean, why not just post what he posted as a status? Why did he have to take it the next step and actually post your photograph? I mean, why did he even take the picture in the first place? It just, he went too far. And so to the man who took this picture, I'm sure you've learned your lesson by now. Hopefully you have. That is completely unacceptable. You never take a picture of somebody without their permission, especially not to shame them on social media, and especially not a breastfeeding mom. We stick together. We come together in groups. We will come after you. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say, I wanted to just show you some support. And once I saw your story, I thought, it would be really great to have you on air with us today, just to be able to share. I had a couple of other moms that had some nursing in public incidences, and I thought that we might be able to get them on, but they weren't available. But I do want to share really quick their stories as well. So thank you, Connor, so much for being with us today. I really appreciate you
Thank
coming on and
you.
sharing your story. So I'm going to share a couple more stories. We're going to be done in a few more minutes, but I just wanted to share these because these moms, their stories are very important, and I didn't want anybody to feel unnoticed. If you head over to our blog, you can look at these two. Just go under the news tab, and once you bring up the news, it'll take you to where we have all of these news stories. So one of the moms that I've been talking with recently, she actually she shipped her breast milk through FedEx. It was supposed to be overnighted through FedEx, and for some reason, I don't know if I'm sharing my screen. Hold on one second. Let me go back. So she shipped her breast milk via FedEx, and they never shipped her breast milk. It's pretty crazy. It was improperly marked, and she ended up getting her breast milk back in a box, thawed out. It was 7 pounds of breast milk. And this is just something that I think they marked the box with hazardous material or something along those lines. This is just something it's just not acceptable. Like, you have to consider that breast milk is not just a liquid; it's a form of nourishment for a child. So when that milk is available, and then it's frozen and it's trying to be kept on ice, and then you're telling a mom that it can't be kept on ice. It's just insane. This mom thankfully got a refund for her. Let me turn this sound down. This mom thankfully got a refund for her. Sorry, hold on one second. She got a refund for her package for not being delivered, and I think that they also added on an extra amount for per ounce the amount that breast milk is worth. So she got a refund, but she didn't get her milk back, and she didn't have the milk to be able to give to her daughter, and she said it took her like about 3 months to store up this milk. So it's like all of that just down the drain. So we need people to really pay attention to what they're doing and really work harder to be able to support breastfeeding moms. Okay, I'm going to share one more story. This is also on the blog. Let me pull it up. If you go over to normalizedbreastfeeding.org/blog, or you can head straight over to news and click news. Let's see. Oh, our other stories it's going to be posted today. so it's not actually not on at this very moment. But I'll just tell you a little bit about it. And I actually have a video of it. Let me bring it up really quick. This mom was in Oklahoma. Sorry, guys, I'm a little raspy. I'm getting over a cold. This mom was in Oklahoma, and she actually, her neighbors, here it is. Her neighbors were threatening to get her evicted because of the fact. Uh-oh. Whose sound is that? Can you mute yourself? I'm not sure whose sound that is. I'm not in the control room right now. But her neighbors threatened to get her evicted from her apartment, or I think it's a townhome, because of or the duplex, because of the fact that she was breastfeeding outside. And so, you know, it's one of those type of things where, sorry, I'm trying to figure out whose sound is still on. Just check your sound, ladies. Somebody's sound is still on. I hear a baby in the background. No worries, though. So I'm going to play this video so you guys can take a look at what happened. It's pretty sad. Her post should be on the blog later on, today or tomorrow.
Get your weather first, only on the Fox 25 News at 5. And the local forecast is Thursday at 5. Don't wait for the weather every weekday at 5. Fox 25 meteorologist Jeff George gives you your local forecast first on the Fox 25 News at 5.
Missy Smith says she went to her property manager on Monday after noticing her vegetable garden had been destroyed. But she says her property manager told her that should be the least of her concerns. Smith was told neighbors had been complaining about her breastfeeding on the front porch and that she may have to add looking for a new place to live to her to-do list.
And he said, yeah, if they call the cops, I will have to write up an eviction notice. I said, I know my rights. Laws in Oklahoma protect me. I can breastfeed anywhere I'm allowed to be. I pay rent. I'm allowed to be in my front yard on my front porch. So I'm allowed to nurse there.
Smith also says she isn't required by law to use a cover, and that if neighbors are upset, they might be looking for a problem.
It's not like I'm sitting there lifting my shirt up to say, hey, look. It's my daughter's hungry, or she's nervous, and she wants to eat. If they're saying that they saw nipple or they saw areola, they're looking too hard.
We looked up the state laws, and it says Oklahoma mothers have the right to breastfeed anywhere they have the right to be.
It's so important that a property manager understand the law before taking action. Knowledge is power.
Attorney Jason Lowe also says the property manager was wrong in trying to say that Smith's actions involved indecent exposure.
In order to, for that to be applicable, there has to be some type of sexual stimulation. And in this situation, obviously, she was just breastfeeding her child.
We reached out to the property manager. He tells me he never used the word eviction and that he simply told Smith he was trying to figure out what to do. He also says after researching the laws, he issued Smith a formal apology, which she accepts. Smith plans on staying at the duplex for right now, but says the entire incident has put a bad taste in her mouth.
I'm just going to continue doing what I do because it's not about them. If they have a problem seeing me nurse, they can look the other way.
All right, guys. So that's Missy Smith. You'll see her post coming up on the blog in the next day or so. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's watching, and thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Jill de Lorenzo, for sharing with us a little bit about the next steps that you'll be taking with the Nursing at the Today Show. I also wanted to just go ahead and tell you that you can start hashtagging positive breastfeeding if you want to be followed by Jill. That's her hashtag. Obviously, continue using normalized breastfeeding, hashtag normalized breastfeeding, and also hashtag normalized BFING. The shortened version is the hashtag that I created so that you can follow this campaign. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at normalizedbreastfeeding.org and on Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest at normalizedbfing. And then our podcast is now up on YouTube, so you can get to that by just going to youtube.com/normalized breastfeeding. So just want to say a big thank you to everybody who has tuned in today, and also want to give another shout out to all of the sponsors. Thank you so much for continuing your work and helping us, and a special thank you to Connor, Kendall, for coming on and sharing her story. You know, if you're out there and you see a mom that's breastfeeding in public, don't shame her. Thank her. Thank her for nourishing her child. Thank her for taking the time and the dedication to nourish her child in public when her baby needs to be fed. Her baby, her toddler, or her child. This is all very important. In order to allow moms to have the relationship that they want with their children. And we don't shame bottle feeding moms. We are all for bottle feeding moms as well. My claim for my mission is to normalize nursing, pumping, and donor milk. In regards to moms that bottle feed, you know, it's a lot harder than breastfeeding. I've been there. I've done that. So I just want to say thank you for your dedication as well. And we just ask that you guys continue to follow and keep this movement growing and going forward. If you have questions or if you want to be on the show, you can email them over to me at normalizedbreastfeeding@gmail.com. And I'm going to be signing off. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.